I know I've brought that up so many times. Man, it bothered me so bad when I got, I mean, jokingly, but it did bother me. We had a perfect 5-star, and then somebody comes on, leaves us a 1-star and says, "No more Chad." And it's like, God, are you kidding me? I thought you were talking about me. No. Oh, crap, I hit record, by the way.
We're both handsome. Okay, we can both be
handsome. If they can't call you handsome, they better call you handy. All right, and not handsy. The big 4-year anniversary is upon us, Andy.
It is.
We have been doing the MTGA for 4 years as of first week of July 2020.
Did you know that's 48 months?
It is. It is 48 months. Yep, you're right.
It's useless trivia.
It's like, yep, it is a little piece of trivia. Thank you for that. I think it's like it's a little over 1,300 days, maybe, or maybe it's more than that. Yeah. I as soon as I hit record, I got this like frog in my throat.
It's all that anxiety.
How do you handle that?
Drinking that Celsius right there. Oh, your camera.
Yeah.
This AI camera thing that we got going on is like just totally, you turned your head and it zoomed right in on you drinking.
It was for a sponsor shot.
That's right.
Who makes this crap that isn't any good for you, I'm sure.
That's fine.
We should get them to sponsor this podcast.
Yeah.
No idea who makes it. Probably the Russians. Anyway. 4 years, and I looked back. I was kind of thinking about this a little bit while I was working today. I was kind of doing some service calls, driving back and forth, doing this and that, and I thought, you know what? I think we are at 4 years, and I kind of had that notion because I saw something on Facebook come up as a memory, and it got me thinking. What are some of the topics we've covered, and what are some of the episodes that we've put out there that are memorable to you, to me, as I was driving around. I got a handful of them. And I know you, before we hit record, we were talking about some of them that you thought of yourself.
Yeah.
And so let's just kind of give that a go today on the episode. I think this is like episode I think it's be right around 300. I know I keep saying that in each of these episodes lately, but it's going to end up counting out to be
it's going to be 300 eventually, right?
Yeah, it's going to be 3 to 305 by the time this episode goes out. I have no idea what the number is, but I know it's right around there.
Yeah.
And if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you've come to know that is just kind of who I am. I'm just going to give you something, and I'm going to stick to it until it's true.
Yep. That's fine. So long as you stick to it, wrong or right, it's fine.
Well, no, I think it needs to be right eventually. You know what I mean?
I do.
Oh boy. Yeah. You can't just say, if you just say something enough times, people start to believe it. There's like a few political candidates that do that once in a while, right. I think.
Yeah.
Give me a memorable or an episode you think of when you think back, or something maybe you've re-listened to or you found helpful even to yourself.
I think some of my favorite ones have been when we've had guests on. We've had a handful of guests, definitely more than once. We've had a handful of guests. We were just glancing back through our hosting service and looking at download numbers and whatnot. And one of them that was just banging was Jamie Christensen, Northwest HVAC.
Oh, Northwest HVAC out there in the Pacific Northwest,
out there in Seattle area, and that one got good downloads, and it was a fun episode talking about Jamie just starting business. I think he was a year in, maybe not quite a year in.
Oh gosh, I don't even think he was a year in by that time, maybe.
But
he's a couple years in now.
Yeah.
When was that? Was that 2022?
I don't know. Yeah, it was a while. It was shortly after we were at AHR, because that's when we met Jamie. It was I don't know if it was his first AHR, but the first time I had met him in person.
Yeah. It's you talk about guests. Jamie was cool to talk to. I remember when we talked to him, he was really still trying to figure out like how to go about the billing, the invoicing, the estimates, you know, and not to pick on Jamie at all. Like,
no,
I mean, that's where he was then. You know, it'd be cool to get him back on an episode and see where he's at now. Cause I know he's expanded quite a bit. I mean, he's doing like commercial, cooling and stuff like that, where he was, you know, kind of just knocking on the door of, you know, going out on his own at the time.
I think so. Yep. I was just trying to find that. I zoomed past it here a little bit ago, but
well, I'm looking too as we scroll through, but of course that doesn't help anybody watching us on the YouTubes, which I would remind anybody just listening to audio, we do put these on YouTube, and if you just want to see us, our dumb mugs on there, go ahead, please hit us up over on the Mechanical Hub channel.
My face is not shiny because I am good looking. It's shiny because it is hot.
It is hot. It is hot. You know, one of the topics we talked about early on, it was actually 100 episodes in, 107.
Yeah.
And it was, it went out on, let's see, March 3rd of 2022.
Okay.
It was titled The Greatest Journeyman Rehashed. Yeah. So we had talked about what makes a good journeyman from kind of the perspective of training apprentices, being capable and dependable to do your job, to carry out your duties. Yep. And we, you know, of course, we're always, kind of relating everything back to what we're good at and what we know, which would be like the plumbing and heating trades. But a lot of that carried over, right? So I think that's why people really liked that episode, because it got a boatload of downloads, and it's still getting downloads today. I think that was a fun episode. That was March 3rd, 2022, The Greatest Journeyman.
Yep. I think the interesting thing about that episode is that everybody who has had any experience being the young guy or being the teacher, the old guy, can relate to a lot of it. You know, I don't know. It comes back. It's interesting. I don't know what the term is, daddy bear. You know, when I hear people, Papa Bear,
wait,
Papa Bear,
Daddy Bear.
Daddy Bear. That's that. Maybe
Never
that's
heard
a little,
that term before.
That's a different. I hadn't either. That's
is that a Montana thing?
No,
it is. This is a weird thing going on.
Weird.
Anyway,
you know about when you hear about people or hear about apprentices being treated poorly. You know, where I'm like,
I know what you mean. I know you get protective.
Oh yeah,
you get protective of them, even if you're not. Even if you really got no skin in the game, right?
Yeah. No, I don't even know most of them. But, you know, I have, you and I both have conversations on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever, where people are like, I'm just the apprentice out cleaning the truck, you know, and I've been here for a week and sorted all the nuts and all the bolts, and we're starting on the drywall screws next week, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, that gets old, you know, but
it does get old. It also immediately, my brain goes kind of two directions, and I can understand why it might go one, but the first direction goes, you're wasting talent. You're never going to, this person's not going to stick around. If they do, they're not going to amount to anything. The other side of that coin is maybe there's a reason that this person is sorting screws. So you can't always assume that they're being treated poorly, right? But you're right. It was kind of a universal topic to anybody that's been in the trades for a little while or anybody starting out.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you think about how many people have been out there that have been, that are let's say are in the trades, right? I, everybody that we interact with at AHR, essentially, right?
Sure.
Or at any, the majority of the people we interact with on Facebook, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever,
the socials.
But then you look at all of the people that have moved from the trades as hey, I did this in college, or I did this as a job but while I was working on my master's degree or whatever.
Yeah, moved on to something else.
Yeah, they moved on to something else, and they still have that recollection of being the new guy, you know.
Right.
And whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, there's that there. So
every once in a while I see those comments. in my, like in the comment section of my videos or something like that on social, we'll see somebody say, yeah, I did that, but now I went to college, I do this thing now. And you get, a lot of good, like, pro college, like pro, like, hey, I enjoyed the trades, taught me something. It just wasn't for me. Or I did that. Now I do this. I'm happier. And I love to hear that too, because it just reinforces the idea that, the trades themselves are not for everybody. And also, conversely, the going to college and working corporate life isn't for everyone either.
Yeah.
Or business ownership, things like that. I mean, that's hey, look, there's a lot of tradespeople that go into business for themselves. I mean, my goodness, we've talked a good portion of 300 episodes about that subject alone. Yeah. So it's prevalent. And there's a lot of people that have done that have really, honestly, probably have no business doing it. And some of them will even admit it.
Yeah.
I think another topic that was fun for me, not fun, interesting, and I've gone back to even just to hear ourselves talk about it. It's kind of top of my list right now of what's happening in my work, in my shop, in my, the jobs I'm working on right now. It seems to be more prevalent now than ever before, and it's the heat pump water heater topic.
Yeah.
And we covered that a couple different times. One of them notably was August 31st of 2023. Man, sure. 2023 is a banner year for...
Yeah, it was.
Maybe I'll call it a banger year for the MTGA podcast. Heat pump water heaters, though, and just the title that what the words are escaping me, Andy. What was the title of that episode? It was in August of 2023. Yeah.
Let me
apologize. I am just having the hardest time getting the words out of my mouth.
Are we seeing a shift toward heat pump water heaters?
Yeah. And in that episode, we talked about just kind of what it takes, how they operate, kind of the power that's behind them. You shed some light a little bit on just comparing them. Really, like the heat pump itself is really no different than running a couple elements. You're not really, really changing the way, the power consumption necessarily. It's just kind of how they operate. And I got to thinking about that recently, and that's why this topic came up when I thought, like, what are some of the episodes I liked as I look back? I'm installing a couple of them in the next few weeks, which is, I've only installed a few over the last couple of years. It's not a regular thing for me here in Minnesota. I don't even know how many are being sold in my area.
Right.
But I think that that's changing. I really do. I think the numbers are increasing.
Yeah.
I see them advertised all the time at my supply houses, like in the monthly specials and stuff like that.
Well, there's I think there's a handful of reasons why we're seeing that. One, I mean, a lot of the utilities are really pushing hard for them, and
with incentives like rebates and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that heat pump water heater, and this is my I guess my personal opinion on it, and it comes with a little fact, maybe a little bias as well, but largely they are a benefit to the utility, and they're going to be a benefit to the customer at some point as well. But by being able to kind of load shed that electrical demand, I mean, we talked about it in that episode, what's the reason behind this heat pump water heater? Why does this thing even exist? It's not like it generates so much more hot water, right? We're a society here in North America that's like, I need, 8 5-gallon a minute shower heads, and can I stuff 400 gallons of storage under the stairs? I mean, it's
I talk about tankless water heaters all the time in videos and my jobs and build show content, like, because of that, what you just said. People, my customers want endless hot water.
Yep.
If you can give it to them, they'll pay for it.
Yeah. And one of the things that we see with the heat pump water heater is that's not, I have routinely, I would say for the last 6 months, probably not quite once a week, but at least once every other week, I have a conversation with a customer or a potential customer about what a heat pump water heater is, how it works, what it does, what are the benefits, what are the cons. And in a lot of cases, we don't sell that many of them. We've put in 3 this year, I guess, 2.
Sure.
In most cases, people want to put in this heat pump water heater, but they don't have the physical room that's required for them, or they don't want to spend the money.
The volume space needed.
Yeah, they don't want to spend the money to duct the thing outside. And they're misled. They're misled to believe that this heat pump is this end all greatest thing since sliced bread. And then also on top of it, there's this big shiny cherry on top of the cake that's a $3,000 rebate or whatever it is.
Yeah. We're not seeing the huge rebates that are like paying for the water heater kind of deal. Right. Like I know you in your area, you've got some major incentives. Ours are not there.
Yeah.
Ours are not at that level.
Yeah.
However, the marketing is the same everywhere nationwide, right? And really on a national level, the marketing.
Yeah.
Well, international, really, if you look at what's being, fed across borders from Canada, United States, it's really being pushed everywhere, the technology. Right. I thought that that topic was interesting. I'm dealing with it more and more. I learned some really cool, of some really cool ideas and methods that are being used for heat pump water heaters and ducting them.
Yeah.
Involving forced air furnaces.
Right.
And I'm going to talk to you about that. And we're probably going to have that for another episode because I'm super excited about it, but I don't have any like physical experience with it yet. Yeah. But concept wise, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Which is that was a very recent conversation I had. And I thought I got to talk to Andy about that. And that's what got me thinking about the heat pump water heater episodes. Sure. And I was looking back at those. You talked about guests earlier. You know who's been a guest a handful of times now? I didn't see this one coming, to be honest with you.
Really?
I didn't think he was going to be into being on the show as many times as he has, but Denver Baker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. MD Heat owner over in Traverse City, Michigan.
Yeah. Like a little glint.
That guy is
spotlight.
He is so incredibly interesting. And his background and his upbringing and ultimately his skill set when it comes to understanding how to make his business grow and work and what works and what doesn't. And, he is just a treasure chest of information. And he let in on a lot of his background and a lot of really just kind of inside knowledge in a few different episodes with us. And I thought that was really cool of him. Well, and I look back to those episodes. They were interesting.
Yeah. I think what on that episode, and I would agree. I appreciate Denver's insight. I think one of the things that I've taken away from our conversations with him the most is he's very openly willing to say, this is what absolutely did not work. Like they were a massive company for a while.
They were.
And quickly, to be able to look back and say, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Having 10, 15 guys in a very short, like in a couple of years worth of time, that kind of growth.
Yeah. I didn't expect that when we first started talking with him.
Yep. Yeah. And one of the topics we talked about with him that I think we need to bring it up because it was episode 231. If you could look up when that was, it was the topic of the episode was, should techs out in the field get sales incentives? Like, should a tech be able to sell something knowing that they're going to get a little bit more money for that upgrade, or, to motivate them to make the sale, do you give them a percentage or a flat rate, as a, bonus if they make that sale to the customer?
Yep.
And that's an interesting topic, and it got a lot of chatter in the emails and in the DMs on social, and rightly so. There's a you can look at that a lot of different ways.
Yep. That was July 20th of 23. Another 23 episode.
Nice.
So, yeah.
See, 2023, dude. What
was up?
What are we doing now
Well, we just had Colton on.
We're having fun. We're having fun, and there's a lot of great topics that have went out already this year, and we're not stopping. I mean, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Last week I got some comments on the text message line.
Yeah.
And one of them was from seemingly a female. Okay. I'm guessing that because that person said my husband and I.
Okay.
So I guess it doesn't have to be a female, but that person said my husband and I listen to your podcast. I listen because it helps me kind of break away from a little bit of the stress.
Yeah.
And the episode was, stress less. It was you and I just BSing about some things that kind of work for us to kind of decompress a little bit from the day-to-day of running business.
Yep. Well, here's what I would say, because I saw that message as well. And this is interesting because it gives us a part of a phone number on Buzzsprout, but there's like no way to reply or anything as near as I can tell.
Yeah, I can't. We just got to bring it up in the episode, right?
Bring it up in the episode. So, for the listener that's listening, hit us up with an email. Let's chat. Because you know what, we're the majority of what we do here is, it's you and I. It's whatever, bringing somebody on that's got an interesting story to share or some aspect of something that they want to talk about. So, let's talk. So
yeah, yep. It's been a lot of fun. We've had Chad on a feon times.
Oh yeah.
I like to bring up, if anybody isn't familiar with Chad, you can just look through the episodes. He's been on about a handful of times. He's a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
Lives in my town here with me. Known each other for, a dozen years or more. And he's a sprinkler fitter, and his and I, we're close friends, and he's kind of a joker.
Kind of.
He's got a big heart, wears it on his sleeve, but he likes to goof off, and he can get a little inappropriate sometimes. But he's always been fun to me to have kind of to have a laugh while we're doing this podcast. And so yeah, check it out, Chad Killinger. He's been on. He is the source of our only 1-star review on Apple Podcasts. I know I've brought that up so many times. Man, it bothered me so bad when I got, jokingly, but it did bother me. We had a perfect 5-star, and then somebody comes on, leaves us a 1-star and says, "No more Chad." And it's like, God, are you kidding me? Screwed our, gave us a 4.9 with that 1-star.
You know what 4.9 means?
It means there's room for improvement. Yeah, you're right.
Means that there's mom room for improvement. All of the reviews.
Yeah, we didn't pay for any.
Right. So I was just out at your place. What's it been, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? When this airs, maybe a month ago.
It's been almost 2
end
weeks,
of July.
maybe.
Let's just say end of July. I was out at your house, and I think I had walked through your door. I'd been there for maybe a half an hour, and you're like, "Oh, Chad's calling," and we made him come home from the lake early, and he came over to the house, and I finally got to meet Chad. So, woohoo! There's your shout out, Chad.
That was cool.
and I got to eat some of his honey. So,
and it's good too.
It is good honey.
It is damn good. Did you see his bees got attacked?
I did. I saw that.
He's got two I'm going to call them hives. That's probably not the right terminology, but the stacks, right? Like he had 2 boxes. Yeah. I don't even know. They're multiple boxes and stacks, 2 stacks. Okay. Anyway, that shows you how much I know about bees. Unfortunately, one of them got just obliterated by a black bear.
I've been kind of a busy week this weekend, so I haven't really been on Instagram much. Did he get everything sorted out, found the queen, everything's good, or?
He got everything sorted out as of today. No queen. So that box it's dead. It's done. That's it, as I understand it. And I try to pay attention when he tells me about it. I'm interested. He's so good at this, and it's very interesting to him. So I'm happy for him that he does it. Unfortunately, this is just one of those hurdles that are going to come along. In the past, it's been very challenging to get them to survive through the winter.
Yeah.
Because of they can get sick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess pretty easily. And they survived this last winter because I think he did have a winter or two where they didn't. But yeah, the lost the queen, so that one's dead, which really sucks. And you can watch the video, but it's kind of depressing. Yeah. But yeah, Chad's been a great guest. We've had a lot of guests on when we go to AHR each year. AHR Expo is a big show we like to attend. We've talked about that show a million times. You can even, if you want to learn more, there's episodes about it.
Right.
It's been fun, dude. 4 years.
Absolutely. It's interesting because initially, at one point it was like, this is a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
And it was, and I don't know, earlier this year, maybe I was like, we're just having a good time with this. It's fun.
Yep.
We have to take a break, because it ends up being that there's a chunk of the year that it just doesn't work for either of us. And
it's really hard. It's really hard during heating season. Yep. Since we do both of us do so much during the heating season, and that busy time. Yeah. Makes for even just kind of mentally, although we'd love to take a break and do something like the podcast, but doing the podcast sometimes is a lot of work and there's just not time.
Right.
Yep.
So it's, like I say, but I was thinking about it. I was like, it's been a little bit lighter and a little bit easier. And then it was like, oh wait, that's, we're not editing. And that's, I got to tell you, Lane.
I'm so glad you brought it up.
Your services. So
I'm so glad you brought it up, Andy. Lane, we've mentioned him every once in a while on the podcast. Yeah. It's fun. I hope he perks up when he's editing and hears his name come up.
Yeah.
He's always been the man behind the camera.
Yeah.
And quite literally, he shot
5 days worth.
5 days of boiler room makeover in Missoula, Montana with you and I.
Boiler room
and
tabernacle
your boys.
Choir. Bunch of ding-dongs yanking off there.
Oh, man.
It was fun.
There was even a little drama for like 1 minute. Twice or so,
Yeah.
And he had to sit through that. I feel bad for him. It was probably uncomfortable.
It was probably awkward.
But Lane is a fan too. And that's it's so surprising to me that he does this as a job. He, as a side gig, he's so good at it too. He edits everything for us, the video, the audio, and I'm so thankful for the work he does. And sometimes he's probably had to put up with some crap.
Yeah.
Hey, can you do this episode like right now? Like, what do you? I don't care if your wife's pregnant. No, I'm just kidding. I never said that to him. But really, we don't have an episode. We needed to go out tomorrow.
Yeah. We didn't upload it. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. It's our fault, but can't you fix it? No, he's been great. He's been a friend for a while now, and he has said to me, and I think he said it to you, but he has said multiple times over the years, like, he enjoys editing it because he enjoys listening to it. And so thanks, Lane. We appreciate that, buddy.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
Yep.
I appreciate you too, Andy, and I know it has been a little bit of work. The thing is this all started out as a project for mechanicalhub.com, my website business, media company and everything, and it's turned into more than that. You and I have been friends for a long time, but we've probably got a lot closer now doing this.
Yeah.
But we've got to do some really cool things together because of it.
Right.
And I think that's what one of the things that really keeps me doing this. And then hearing from people, what I haven't said in a while that I feel like I've kind of dropped the boat. I've dropped the God, I cannot talk today. I have basically I have no words. I've ran out of words. 4 years. I've ran out of words.
4 years. Never happened.
You didn't see
before.
That one coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never happened before.
Yeah.
I've kind of dropped it. My duties here. I forever in every episode would remind people, send us a message. Right. We want to hear from you. I know I tell people, hey, you can text us and things like that. That's great. But I want to remind you why we ask you to do that. Right. And it's because so many of the topics we've covered and talked about in the last 4 years come from you, the listener.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And now the people watching. We see the comments on YouTube and we welcome them. Thank you so much. Your feedback is a gift. We welcome it and we invite it. Your feedback and topic ideas.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what we would have done. We would have talked about setting your price about 17 more times.
But at least. Yeah. Maybe we
if we didn't get more topics sent into us as we did. So we're so thankful for that.
Yep. Absolutely. No, it has been a riot. It's been fun. I say this about everything, and anybody that ever asks me that's like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do this. Is go do it, right? Go teach something, go learn something. There's so much to do, out there that, if anybody ever told me like, oh, don't you ever get bored? I'm like, how in the world could I get bored? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I got boring. I have, one of the episodes that we talked about, and this is probably like early 2020, right? I have a 2x72 belt grinder yet to be finished. There's a handful of a handful of projects that I've got hanging out in the shop here that probably should get finished or sold or maybe not even started. I don't know. You come over to over to the shop here. Every time you come, you're like, dude, you have so much crap. You have no idea.
It's none of my business either. I don't know why I open my mouth. I should just open my mouth and shove my foot in it. I thought about that the other day. I did. Yeah. I was like mowing and I thought about your shop and I remembered I was like scolding myself. Like, why did you tell him he needs to clean out his shop? And like,
because I do.
It's none of my business, but yeah, I know you do. You do. Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yep.
You got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I got projects, man. If it ever gets like cold out and I can't go to work, like maybe I get a snow day, never going to happen. I could like come out to the shop and like work on rebuilding a metal lathe or like I said, I got a 2x72 belt grinder that's like 98%.
The belt grinder just.
Yeah. Dude, that thing's going to be sweet one of these days.
One of those, you're going to be 86 and I'm going to be like, I'm driving out. And then I'm going to drive my old jalopy.
Yeah.
And I'll meet up with you. And
we're going to work on a belt sander.
86-foot long belt grinder.
Hey, it'll be fine.
Sander, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
But you know what I won't be?
Okay.
I won't be bored. So where I was going with this is go out and get, find something. Find something you don't know about. Learn about it. I mean, I don't know. That TikTok sucks.
If you haven't listened to all the episodes.
Right. I hate TikTok because I get on there and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so consequently, I have a 3D printer sitting right back here that was inspired from that. And by the way,
did you print something cool?
You did it. This one's coming to you, buddy.
That's cool.
I'm going to send it to you unbroken.
Does it move?
Oh, you can't wait till you. Oh,
okay.
There needs to be an unboxing. I got some other stuff in the works for you, but
okay. The speaking of TikTok and being bored and stuff, I took it off my phone.
Did you?
I'm so much more productive.
Oh,
okay. That's enough about that.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. There's no reason to be bored. If you're bored, it's probably because you're just doing the same old thing. Like that's my thing, right? So like, if I find myself like restless and I am easily brought to that point, it's because I'm just like I'm idle.
Yeah,
I need to be doing something. And if I'm just doom scrolling, as we both of us call it, eventually, like it's just boring. It's not productive. You can do so much better. All right.
Yep.
You know what? As we say every single time, we're getting long. We got to shut her down.
Do it.
It's funny that you and I ever had a goal of keeping this around 20 to 25 minutes because we don't ever do that.
No. And I don't, the goal came up as some sort of metric, right?
Yeah. Somebody's like, your podcast has to be this long.
Yeah. And ours is always 8 minutes longer than that. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because we're 8 minutes better.
That's right. Always better.
All right. I'm going to remind everybody once again, I brought it up. If you're still listening, I appreciate it. Andy does too. Leave us a message. You can text us using the little link in the show notes on your audio app that you're listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, get in the comments. Give us some ideas of what you want to hear us talk about. Ask us questions. We will try to answer them. And believe me, we read them. We pay attention to them. If we don't reply, it's not because we're ignoring them. It's just maybe we didn't have the time or something. But we will try to reply with that topic idea or talking about it or getting somebody on to talk about it that's better than us in an episode. So, all right, dude. Sweet. 4 years.
4 years. 48 months. In case anybody was wondering.
Let's do one more month.
One more.
Take it one more at a time.
1 month.
I got to go.
Man.
I got diarrhea.
Later.
Bye.